Remember, the key to success is working hard. For our country, we must have regard. Forget all your differences, let we start to build. And onward to progress we surely will. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together.
Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique together. This is our duty to make this place better for our children and children. I want to welcome you. I want to say to you, the folks on Facebook and YouTube, please share the live. Sharing is caring. I want to start off by saying gun violence is nothing new. In other words, we heard about it in the past and we will hear about it in the future. Because of Grenada's location, we will have guns coming in, and from time to time, we will hear about gun violence. So that's very important that you understand that, because there are some people who believe that Grenada doesn't have guns. There are people who believe that. And there are those who believe that they can only hear about gun violence in North America, maybe the United States, maybe Canada, maybe the United Kingdom. And there are people who will give you the impression that the United States or Canada or the United Kingdom, they are all fine. You don't get that there. They give you that impression. In fact, I would see from time to time Nimrod Oliver, this guy who ran against this youth, this young man, the Honorable Ron Redhead, and Ron Redhead beat him badly. But here it is. He was a police officer in New York. So he's now trying to make you believe that he's the authority on crime, or he has the answer to solve this and get this thing over with, gun violence and violence generally. He gives that kind of impression that he's the man. He's the Superman. He can solve this thing overnight. But he came from a place where this thing was not solved, right? He couldn't solve it. If you ask him, what is the crime rate where he came from, where he worked for a specific period of time, you would scream aloud when you hear it. If you ask him how many people die from gun violence or from the gun on a nightly basis, not even a weekly, on a nightly basis, where he once worked, and you hear the statistics, you would be alarmed. But he says he has the solution. He gives people the impression that he can solve this thing, man. He can get this thing over with here in Grenada. But you know, folks, what is amazing? Anytime you hear about some gun violence, it is some bad boy, right? Or somebody involved in some drugs. And anytime you hear one shoot one, one got shot, one died. Many a times, right? I shouldn't say any time. Many a times. There are some drug related thing or some bad boy shoot some bad boy. Many a times. So these things are not no isolated thing, you know. It's targeted to certain people. They take them people drugs, they sell it, and they keep the money, and they ain't pay them for it. Many a times, that is what happens. Or they do somebody something, and they involve in some kind of, bad boy thing, and they go down. They get shot or they shoot somebody else. But it is not to say that Grenada has this big crime rate or gun violence in Grenada is so bad that even a New Yorker would be afraid to come here, or even a Trini would be afraid to come here, or even a Vinci afraid to come here, or even a Jam Dong afraid to come here. You see? But the NNP, from where I sit, seem to be celebrating this, right? And I'm talking about the NNP surrogates. They seem to be celebrating the fact that somebody got shot or some bad boy died in some shooting accident or incident. It comes across that way because they were in power and that used to happen under them. Nothing new, right? Nothing new. There's a gun amnesty in place. You believe that by some magic wand, this government could solve the gun problem or any of the problems that existed under the NNP with guns. They could just, wake up one morning and everything solved? No. But if you take a man drugs and you fail to pay him, so you take the drugs and you're taking the money, there will be consequences. Sad to say, but that's the reality, right? And if you're a bad boy and you're in your home, let's say Montparnasse, and your next bad boy involved in some altercation or something, and you believe you have a illegal firearm and you can just go and reap havoc, and then for some strange reason you got shot, you dead, right? And the NNP surrogates will say, well, gun violence, too much of guns, too much of... Okay, all right, I hear you. And if you involve in some kind of drug deal, you involve in some kind of, gang thing, and they come for you, I am simply saying the authorities, they are trying. There's a gun amnesty in place. Bring in your illegal firearm, right? The police, they are trying their best with the intelligence gathering process. But we, the people, need to help them. Your son comes in the house with a gun. You're not even telling your son you don't have a license to carry a firearm. Why do you then have a firearm? You're not going to call the police on your son, right? And you're not going to speak to your son because speaking to him might cost you your life, right? Your son or his friends, they are involved in violent activity, and they talk badness over the phone. They carry all kinds of weapons. You're not going to call the police on him or his friends. Why? You see, you're not going to even seek intervention. But when something happens, everybody quick to blame the police. They're quick to blame the government. It's just like Nawasa, right? And you may think it doesn't relate to this story, but it does. Every year, I hear the same thing. Nawasa this, Nawasa that, Nawasa this, Nawasa that. All right? Every year. But we are experiencing a severe dry season. We were warned. There were all kind of jingles, all kind of PR promo telling you about what's to come, right? You could say what you want about the people of Carriacou and PT Martinique. They know that they have a water problem. So when they construct their homes, they put a cistern, they put a tank, they build a huge tank under the house, under the veranda, somewhere there to store rainwater. They do rainwater harvesting. Or they have a tank or two behind the house. They know they have a water problem, right? In Grenada, every year, people complain, they call the radio program and they're tired and they're fed up. And Nawasa, they want Nawasa to turn stone into water, right? Because we know that Nawasa don't have the resources to build a million tanks or storage system. They just don't, right? And that's the fact. That's the fact. They don't. Grenada is not printing any money. We are not the United States. We are not Canada. We don't. We are not wealthy that we can just build in every community some huge tank, right? We don't. So, what should have happened? The planning unit should have mandated 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that everyone who is constructing a house should have, as part of that construction, a tank, a cistern, or whatever they call it, to store water under the ground, on the side, wherever. That should have been in this system many years ago under the NNP, because they were there for 20 something years straight, right? Well, not straight. They were there for 20 something years, for a period of time. They lost twice. First NDC, meaning Tillman Thomas, Uncle Tilly, and now. So there was only a 5-year break or 4 years and a half break. NNP was running the show. That should have been there as part of the requirement. So you're building a house, you need to have that. Simple. Because all these new houses or homes, they are taking water too. But if they, during the dry season at least, were able to use the water from the tanks, then the people without would have water. Simple like that, But you want Nawasa to make water, to cause water to come in your home, in your pipes. We are experiencing a severe dry season, right? So you're calling every year. Every year you're screaming aloud on the radio. You're fed up, you're this, you're that. Same thing with the gun situation. Your son come home, see him with a gun, call the police. Speak to him. There's a gun amnesty in place. Let him hand it up. Failure to do so, be a good citizen now. You got to put certain safeguards in place. You think these guys going to come and shoot you just like that. You could say what you want about Trinidad. You can go to Trinidad and you could enjoy Trinidad. You hear me? And you could go in all the places they talking about bad and they would do you nothing because you won't do them anything. You hear me? I'm not saying that there wouldn't be a ricochet bullet or some kind of mishap. I'm not saying that. That could happen anywhere around the world. But you can go in all of those communities, right? You ain't do them people nothing. They ain't doing you a thing. And that is the reality. The reality here is if you not involved in something, nobody ain't doing you nothing. You hear me? Nobody. They give you this impression, this whole idea, this falsehood is out there that things are so bad. No, things are not bad in Grenada. Grenada is peaceful. Grenada is all good. Everywhere around the world, you would have crime. You're going to have gun violence. You can't run away from that. And yes, I know the authorities, they need to do more. Our people need to do more to provide intel to the authorities so that they can do a better job. And I agree. I fully agree. Things need to improve holistically throughout security and otherwise. But don't come crying down this country and, making people believe that things are so bad here. If you check it out, the people who are being killed around the world, not only here in Grenada, is some bad boy, some man who takes some man drugs, and MP. You hear me? Don't make them fool you. Grenada is still one of the most peaceful places in the world. Yes, I agree. The police, they need to do more. Yes, I agree. The community, they need to do more to provide the police with information. But don't come and give this impression that things are so bad here. Joke you're making. Things are not that bad in this place we call home. It is still a paradise. It is still peaceful. Do you know that last year alone, 1,000 plus people died in Jamaica? But still, Jamaica saw 4 million plus people visiting, enjoying. Because if you don't involve in anything, you have nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. So again, Grenada is a very peaceful place. There's a gun amnesty in place. If your son have an illegal firearm, make sure you bring it in. Some of you aiding and abetting crime. All your children involved in all kind of wrong, right? And all you quick to call a radio program and cry down the country and talk about people afraid to come out in the home. And which part? Which part? Where people afraid to come out in the home? What's wrong with all you? All you making a mistake. Nothing has changed when it comes to Grenada's status as a peaceful country, as a place that you can come and enjoy, and your children could grow up here, you could grow up here. It is a wonderful country, a beautiful place. Grenada is peaceful. You hear me? You not involved in anything. You are not no fear. Well, you know all your child is selling drugs. Some of all you. You know he's selling drugs. You know he's taking the people drugs on credit and he had to pay. Or he pay half and he had to pay again. He failed to pay, you don't know what happened? Right? And you're holding your head and ball. I am saying to you, Grenada is a peaceful country. You hear me? It's a nice place. But let's move on. Again, the government is trying their utmost to create wealth, to create prosperity, to create betterment for our people. And I want to commend the government. I told you about the Crown lands. People are living on government lands. You now have a pathway to getting the land on your name or in your name. All right? So the government is saying if you have been living on the land, maybe you got a letter from previous governments saying that this is your plot and this is the amount you have to pay. So now they are saying they're ready to make sure that you get your deed and your plan, but you have to pay. Right? Initially, I thought, well, it's a free thing, maybe some fees and so on. But the government is saying there's a cost. So they may have certain things in place to waive this and waive that, but they're giving you a legal path to get in the land in your name. Maybe your father got the approval, meaning, cabinet may have approved a piece of land for your father or your grandfather. He didn't pay, but you're there, or his siblings, or maybe his children, they're on the land, but they don't have a title to it. So your grandfather now has 5 children. They all have some stake in that piece of land, but it's still government's land. Government owns the land. He didn't pay. He didn't get a plan or a deed. He didn't get nothing of that sort. And even if he had a plan, he didn't get a deed. Now the government is saying, we are ready to regularize. We are ready to engage you. There are a lot of people who are still living on government lands. Don't fool yourself. A lot. It's a good opportunity now for you to enter into a payment plan, for you to reach some kind of agreement where you can pay. So there are people who are squatting, squatters, illegal settlers. There are people who got a plot of land, but they did not get the deed or the plan, right? Or, they say, well, this is your land, your plot. You could build. It's a good opportunity. Maybe you got some booklet, maybe you got some letter, something of that sort. It's a good opportunity to regularize. It's a good opportunity to own your own piece of land. So let me just play that little piece for you. GBN did a nice story on it. So they had a press conference on Friday. So let me just play a little piece from GBN.
Occupants of Crown lands in Grenada will soon have the opportunity to secure the necessary legal documents for purchasing and owning their properties thanks to the Land Tenure Regularization Program initiated by the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry. Set to span approximately 2 years in its initial phase with a budget allocation of $1 million for the first year, this program aims to streamline property ownership processes for Grenadians. Mrs. Gemma Thomas, Administrative Executive in the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry, shed light on the initiative.
In accordance with the rules, citizens who are allotted Crown lands have a period of 12 years to complete payments with a 5% annual interest on the remaining balance owed to the state. Additionally, over the years, citizens without legal authorization and without any formal arrangements to be on Crown lands have taken up residency and have established themselves on these lots of lands, creating what is often referred to as squatters' communities. This land regularization program is designed to address this vexing issue and to provide deeds of titles on terms approved by Cabinet to citizens legally occupying Crown land.
Under the program's criteria, qualified applicants must have resided on the land for a period of 10 years or more, whether for residential, agricultural, or commercial purposes. Mrs. Thomas provided insight into the process, highlighting the associated risk and challenges.
Some of the identified risks and challenges include the lack of cooperation and even legal challenges from some landowners, informal occupants or squatters, or other stakeholders, which may delay the program implementation process. Another risk is inaccurate records, absence of land surveys or mapping errors, technical challenges with data collection, management systems, or documentation processes, and the lack of understanding of the program and thus resistance or opposition from occupants, squatters, or community members.
She emphasized the timelessness of the project and outlined its potential positive impacts, underscoring the importance of facilitating legal ownership for residents of Crown lands.
By granting land titles to people residing on or occupying Crown lands who previously held no title, the project intends to 1. Provide legal recognition and documentation of land ownership to all eligible residents. 2. Enhance land governance and minimize land disputes. 3. Promote socio-economic development through secure land tenure. 4. Foster equity and sustainability in society. And 5. Streamline and regularize land tenure processes in Grenada.
To guarantee the success of the program, the ministry plans to conduct several stakeholder engagement along with public relations, education, and sensitization forums in various communities across the island. Additionally, several field officers are undergoing training to kickstart the process in the coming months.
Right. So that's a very good thing if you ask me, because I know you have a lot of people still living on government lands, crown lands, and they do not have title to the lands. So if you know you're on government land, you can engage the Ministry of Lands or Agriculture so that can be regularized, right? So it's so important. You own a piece of land, it doesn't belong to you, it's government owned. It's a good opportunity now for you to let them know, and they would come, they would have to survey, they would have to, show you where your boundaries are at and the cost of it, and give you some kind of arrangement to pay. And there are people who got that already. The booklet, they have to pay a certain amount, and they just didn't have the money to pay. And once they started paying, then there is interest. I think there's a 5% interest, something of that sort. And once you occupy a piece of government land, even if they give it to you, after 12 years, I think, either 10 or 12 years, it's still government owned if you didn't complete the payment of it. So it's a good opportunity now to get that piece of land in your name, so the government knows where they have crown lands. Don't believe they don't. They know. So I urge you to engage them and see what can be done in going forward. I want to say that this government is focused. This government understands that the people have been neglected for 20 something years in terms of developing, in terms of caring, in terms of prospering. So the NDC administration is seeking to make our people more prosperous, make our communities full of life, full of energy, vibes, right? Events, activities, things should be happening there. So again, I think they're doing a fantastic job where that is concerned, but they will face opposition. And what dawned on me is how the media would celebrate certain people. So, for example, the Honorable Claudette Joseph, she spoke. She spoke at May Day. In fact, she cleared up some of the misconceptions and false information that some of those leaders of the unions put out there. But I don't know if you saw, but for me, I have not I have not seen an extensive or just a piece, let me say just a piece of news item featuring what she said. The Grenada Trades Union Council, they have that video up, right, with all the speeches and so on, and there's a restriction, so you cannot download it and replay it on your platform, from what I have experienced. So normally you upload something on YouTube and you can download it, right? But they are restricting people from doing that. Yes, you can view it. Yes, you can hear it. So I am saying, I don't know what is the obsession with some of these union leaders that the media, GBN in particular, right, have with them. So the Andre Lewis, the Brian Grimes, I mean, they would feature these people. Because you see, the media in Grenada, they are accustomed to TB. They are accustomed to confrontation. They are accustomed to demonstrations. They're accustomed to that kind of thing. But they're not getting it. Right? They're not getting it. They're not being fed with what they love. They love that kind of thing. And then there is a big disconnect between the leadership of the unions and the membership of the unions. So the people who are paying their dues and their membership, or they are members of that union, they are happy. They are happy. I'm not saying that the system is perfect or Grenada is all perfect. No. But there's a great disconnect. So while Brian Grimes will go on the platform and say X and say Y, the workers are not even cheering him on. While Andrew Lewis, for example, and his union is pretty small in the scheme of things, right? There's some critical areas that they cover, but generally, he will go and say certain things, but the membership of the union, they don't really approve of this. And here it is. There will come a time where they will be put to the test because they want to go on the road. They want to strike. They want a strike action. They are greedy for that. So someone is saying to me, MTV played a short clip of the Labour Minister's speech. That's great. It's wonderful. But I'm referring to GBN. I am saying, folks, they want that. They will get a test. Yeah. But when that day comes, we will educate the workers. We will empower the workers with information. Because here it is. You hear some of the union leaders speaking about pension reform and trying to scare the working man who is already permanent, has a letter from the Public Service Commission. So you're permanent. You know your skill and you know you're permanent. When you retire, pension reform will have no impact on you. Zero. You hear me? Because you already legally entitled to 66.66% of your last highest emolument. Right? You are entitled to that by law, the 1958 pension law. That would not change. No. And you're entitled to your pension from NIS when you're 65. Right? That's law. But the people now who are not permanent, and I think it excludes those that they will be regularizing in the first phase, and I think the second phase, I think so, right? But I'm saying the people who will become permanent, their pension agreement will be different. So the employer, the government of Grenada, will enter into something totally different with them because the pension scheme as it stands cannot sustain them. It just can't. So it has to be contributory. It has to be you giving some contribution or making some contribution. So the employer and the employee making some contribution towards their pension. But the union leaders, they're given this impression that, well, if pension reform takes place, the workers will be disadvantaged. Well, as it stands now, there isn't a word to describe the situation that they are in because the NNP hired them, put them on some contract, or put them on some letter, or put them on nothing. Just bring them in. So they're working. They have no letter stating their, their permanent status or whatever. Nothing speaking to their status, right? As an employee. What are your roles and responsibilities? Are you permanent? No. So they're left in the open. So this government is trying to make sure that when they retire, they get something. That is what the government is doing. But what the union wants, or at least some of them, is for the government to make all the people who are there now permanent. The NNP didn't do it. No. In fact, the NNP were giving contracts, hiring these people on contracts. No job security whatsoever. So the NDC is trying to get things in order. Excuse me. The NNP surrogates and the union leaders, some of them, they want you to believe that the pension system as it is now is sustainable and that the government should just make all these people permanent. That the Public Service Commission should just give these people some letter and then they're all good. But once they become permanent, then the government has to pay them a pension upon retirement, right? The government cannot sustain that. But that is what some of the union leaders want. They want a TB. They want some confrontation. They want some bacchanal. But any reasonable person would conclude, but wait, the government is regularizing the people who are acting in certain positions, right? Making them permanent. The government is regularizing, the teachers, the nurses, and so on, and they're not losing any years of service. The government could just regularize them now and pay them as though they just come to work from now. But the government didn't do that. The government decided if you have 5 years of work inside, 10 years of work, we're going to treat it as though you came to work 10 years ago and you're permanent 10 years ago. Although you're getting permanent now. You see, you cannot, as a union, right, want every single thing in a negotiation. So you want X, Y, and Z, and you want them to give you all. And if they don't give you all, then all hell break loose. You can't get it that way. You cannot have it that way. It doesn't work that way. And that is why the workers were so jolly, so happy on May Day, because they know that while they have not gotten all that they want, at least the government is trying. The government started the process, so they got some. And they know, and let me rephrase that, they are extremely hopeful about the future. What will happen to them down the road? Because this government will not disenfranchise any worker. This government is a pro-worker party. This government is a pro-worker party, a for-worker party. It is clear the NDC is for workers. But I am saying there's a total disconnect, but there are some people in the media, right? They kill on Bob, as though he thrives on negative news. He wants TB. He wants drama. So all the good things are happening. Nah, man, you're not going to hear this guy feature that. No. Nah. Wait. And then you have all those NNP podcasters, talk show hosts and hostesses. Man, just the negative stuff. And then you have those who are writing and publishing stuff, right? And they believe, well, when they publish stuff, maybe that would cause some uproar. That would cause something to happen. But it's not happening because Grenadians are quite aware that this government is trying their best. Trying their best. Because remember, NNP wrecked this place, you know. NNP mess up this place. I don't believe that for some reason, within 2 years, or 3 or 4 or 5 years, NDC could come and fix everything. It's not going to happen. Calm yourself down. Your expectation is too high. You may get crazy because you expect the NDC to fix everything within 2 years or 3 years. It would not happen, people. It will not happen. Right? So that's important. So the union leaders, I mean, they're going to talk, but it's a serious disconnect. That is why they can't call any strike in Grenada. No, they go try. And I have said openly, if any one of them call a strike, right, I will mobilize a counter strike, a counter group, meaning busloads of people who want to see this country transform, who wants to see Grenada better off. I will mobilize people to come on the same street to celebrate the good things that this government has done for the working people. You hear me? And I am capable of that. So I'm not really bothered with them. They could talk. But we have seen good things under this administration. That's important. Moving on. I want to challenge the Public Service Commission and the Royal Grenada Police Force to promote not only the male police officers, but do so with the female police officers at the high command, inspector, assistant commissioner of, assistant superintendent of police, superintendent of police, and assistant commissioner of police or commissioner. I'm saying this because there seems to be a great disparity, right, between the male and the female in terms of promotion at the senior ranks. And the women in the police force, they are doing a fantastic job, right? Just as the men. So I am saying again, there are some female police officers that I think should be promoted equally. And I'm not just talking about corporals, sergeants. I'm talking about inspector, assistant superintendent of police, and up. What we have seen in the police force over the many years is a situation where it's a boys' club, right? It's just the men and the men getting the promotions. We need to see a similar thing with the women. I mean, we have had some strong women within the police force, and they were able to navigate their way up, breaking the glass ceiling and challenging those men who believe it's a man's world and it's a man's police force and that kind of thing. I am saying we need to see more females, more women being promoted within the RGPF at the higher rank, right? We need to see that. There seem to be some problems there. And I want to urge those who are responsible for promoting the police officers, please look into the female police officers too, right? Corporals, promote, from corporals, sergeants, and so on. Well, that is the commissioner of police duty. But the public service commission, I think, is some inspector up. We need to see more women being promoted. That's important. Lastly, you get this feeling from those NNP surrogates that the NDC should be totally different from the NNP. So with the land regularization, Crown lands, you hear them say, well, it's a good thing, but they hope that the NDC doesn't go it along political lines, right? Every time the NNP speaks about some good thing about the government, they always inject, well, I hope they don't do it politically. Because you know why? That is exactly how the NNP governed. That is how they were running the country. So they know what they're accustomed doing. So they're throwing it out there to the NDC to say, well, don't do it like how I did it. You hear me? But they remain in power for 20-something years doing it. It's as though they want the NDC not to look for their people in the process of doing things. Well, hello, let me tell you this. We have to look for our people. We have to look for our people. It's what it is. In small island politics, we have to look for our people to make sure that our people are taken care of. It's what it is. So don't give this idea or put this idea out there that we need to just forget about our people and just do it, general. We all are Grenadians, so let's do it general. I'm saying we need to remember to get back in power or to win again. Our people need to go out there and vote for us, right? So we have to take care of our people so that they will take care of us when that time comes. You hear me? It's what it is. So yes, we're looking after Grenada and everybody, but we have to treat our people good, our supporters good, so that they will vote for us ultimately. That's what it is. We can't run away from that reality. Some people want us to forget that, right? In other words, if I have $1 and I have 2 girls, 2 children, right? And then you have the neighbor having a child or 2. And I need to get milk or juice or food. And my neighbor needs milk, juice, and food, but doesn't have the money. I shouldn't just pick up my $1 and give the neighbor to go and buy food and whatever for his children. I shouldn't do that. I should first take care of my children. That's important. That's what a good father does, or mother. You take care of your children because you would not leave your children hungry and go and feed your neighbor's children. That's in fact that's lunacy. It's dotishness at the highest level. Same thing in politics. You cannot leave your supporters, right, wanting X and wanting Y, and then you take that, what they want, what you had to give them, and give to the opposition or the NNP. It's just not politics. It's just not logical. This thing is common sense, you know. It is common sense. Nobody has to read and spell for you. You know, them NNP ain't want to hear that. And there are some people in this country who believe that they are so bright. They don't want to hear that too. No, why Kem should say that? Why Kem should talk about that? You shouldn't talk. We all are Grenadians, and they need to give everybody. Well, when the election time comes around, the NNP supporters going to vote for NNP. And the NDC supporters, you want them to come and vote for you. You want the NDC supporters to vote for NDC. And you want the people in the middle to vote for you too. So it's a balancing act, but it's common sense. I cannot leave my two children hungry. They want the milk. They want the food. And pick up the food because I want to play Mr. Good. I want to play Mr. Nice. I want to play a priest. I want to play a pastor. Right? I want to play, you know, I want people to talk good about me. So I'm taking the food that my children need and I'm going to give the neighbor, because the neighbor children, they need the food. And some people will say, well, share the food. Give all of them. Well, suppose the food that I have can't share for all of them. What would happen? Will leave mine hungry? Leave my children hungry? In politics, you must first dance a yard before you dance abroad politically. And you understand the term. You have to take care of your own first. It is what it is. Don't play Mr. Nice. With some people, I know, the NNP, I don't play nice with them. You're joking? They would crush you. Yesterday, I met an NNP, right? A known NNP. We were in a particular event. She said, Kem, just give me a drink now. I said, miss, I ain't giving you no drink. You hear me? I said, the money that I'm giving you that drink with, that is NDC people money. Right? That's people who want to see the government survive, who want to see the government thrive and remain there. I ain't giving you no drink. I said, go to Keith Mitchell up in somewhere in St. Mark, Victoria. Go by him. You hear me? Go by him and like you. I ain't give you no drink. No. And some people say, well, there's another. Hey, Kem Jones, but you shouldn't do that. Yeah. I say, well, you do it. You give her a drink. You hear me? So you can't play Mr. Nice and Mr. Nice and Mr. Nice with them. You matter what? Nice? They know what niceness is. NNP. You're joking. I am saying all of this to say to you, when they speak, they give you this impression that when the NNP was there, they used to do it this way and looking after. No, sir. That is not how it used to be. So I am simply saying it is important that we understand, if you have $10, make sure and utilize at least $7 on your supporters, on your people. You hear me? Make sure the next 3 we go share it with them. But make sure that $10, 7 out of it, or at least 8. There are sometimes you have to give 8 or all sometimes. You hear me? Certain situations, you might give 6, your people 6, and them 4. Certain situations, you might give 7 to your people and 3 to them. Certain situations, you have to give the whole 10 to your people. So it depends on the situation. The main thing here, you have to take care of your own. That's important. And sometimes you have to help your own to get it. Sometimes you have to help your people to get it. Because everybody, not geniuses, everybody, not a scholar to do the bidding, to get the contract, to do up this and do up that, to tell you how much nails, how much screws, how much 4 inches blocks, how much 6 inches blocks, how much steel, right? How much ply, how much 2x6, how much 2x4, how much 2x4 rough, how much 2x6 dress, how much. Everybody not able to do that. But you need to help that person. Sometimes you say, well, do this, but someone they can't do it. But they might be able to do other things. So you have to help them to get it. I never forget many years ago, and she's still alive. Not going to call her name. She was with the NNP, elected minister, right? MP for her area. And I was the senior guy under her in the office, acting as the personal assistant, more or less, the go-to guy. So she said to a gentleman, and I wouldn't call his name, but I remember things very well. She said, well, there's a piece of drain that is going to be constructed. She said, well, I know you're not this contractor, right? You can't do this estimate, but I know you're a good community person, you're popular, you're liked by people. So what I want you to do is to get 2 masons, right? 1 carpenter and 2 helpers, but good people. And I'm going to give you the contract. I'm going to help you to get the contract. And when you get the contract, you go hire these people and you will do the work. Today, the guy's a contractor. Today, the individual is a contractor. But the politics dictated, right, that you help the person and you don't look at, whether they have a first degree or a second degree or whether they're being contractors 20 years ago. Because most of the people who are contractors became contractors under the NNP time. You hear me? And the NDC man or woman who wanted a liquor contract didn't get it. Didn't get it because the NNP kept them out. They never got a chance to even do anything. So now what you need to do is to empower your people. It is clear cut. That's what reality is. But I am sharing this with you so you could kind of get it in your mind. She said, Kim, make sure that this guy gets the contract. I didn't question whether the person was a mason or a carpenter or some contractor. She said, give him the contract. She said, I already spoken to him. He will get 2 masons, he will get 1 carpenter and 2 helpers, and he could do the work. You hear me? The guy became her biggest supporter. He was popular. He was influential within the community. When he spoke, people listened, and he was able to mobilize and organize and get people to do certain things. So tactically, it is important sometimes to help your people to get there because they may need that kind of assistance. That's the politics. Right? So I am saying, let the NNP talk. Let them talk. When they were in power, they looked for their people. So why the NDC in power now? You want a different measuring stick. All them holy people come out now. They become the adjudicators of this government's performance from the community all the way up. And they tell you, do it so and give that one so and don't do that so on. When the NNP was in power, they didn't say a word. Not a word. They became muted. NNP took a Calypsonian because he was popular, he was liked, and they made him a contractor. He building roads, he building this. They took a fisherman and they give him contract to build roads and do this and do that. You ain't hear a word from those who are playing holy. Anytime you encounter self-righteous people, run. Because if you open the closet, if you open the cupboard, if you open, that thing, you will find all kind of stuff there. They are the most dangerous set of people in the world. Self-righteous. They believe they are the authority to speak and everything. But when NNP was there, they didn't say anything. They just allowed the NNP to do whatever they want to do. But anytime the NDC in power, those X, Y, and Z, they would come out. I wanted to say something there, I hold it back. They're coming out. And the NDC this, and the NDC that. And the NDC shouldn't this, and the NDC shouldn't. Yeah. And when they're giving contracts and give this and give that, and be fair and be that, under NNP, there was no, what is fair? Fair what? Huh? They set up a company. Yeah, cleaning company. You hear me? A hand sanitizing company. Who they employed as directors, managers, and who in the company? Their people. Are you losing it or what? Their people. The minister, she sister, she brother, she cousin. When the NNP won, they pick up a guy from St. Andrew and they bring him in the Ministry of Education, remember? And they made him chief education. Well, he was the chief education officer at once, right? Then they made him PS. They brought him in as a PS. He was PS. And then they give him some big position in the parliament and so. Don't forget that. Don't confuse yourself, They're looking for their people. When NNP was in power, look at them PSs that they promoted, who became PS. Look at them. I could pull out 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. NNP. They are supporters of the NNP. You hear me? Don't fool yourself. Don't confuse yourself. All those big programs and so on, projects. Who headed it? Who was on top? Who was in charge? Them NNP and them. Them NNP. They control everything. They run the thing. They look for their people. That is exactly what happened. So don't come and play as though the NDC has to all of a sudden be, the little saint, be the little priest, be the little pastor in the midst. You must be mud. You must be making a mistake. What's wrong with you all? It can't be that way. You have to look for your own. Make sure that they're happy first and foremost. You hear me? That's important. Because there is, if you want to be a priest or a pastor, go in church. Politics has its own morality. Don't make nobody fool you. Politics has its own rules, its own morality. Look for your people. It is what it is. Let them NNP talk. And let me tell you, don't be intimidated when they talk, Don't make them make you afraid. Because that is what they are accustomed doing. You hear me? So they come on the soul and this is it, and they fire who, and they this, and they that, and that's how they're doing it. Yeah, they're coming out and they're making you, before they hear, that's how they're custom functioning. But when they're in power, they do it, no problem. When the NNP in power, they victimize all kind of people. They send all kind of people home. They call a commissioner of police, they say, I can't work with you. You hear me? I can't work with you. They take him and they dump him in the parliament as some, parliament clock or something like that. Some clock in the parliament. Yeah. Can't work with you. Yeah. They promoted their supporters within the Royal Grenada Police Force, who became superintendent of police, who became assistant superintendent of police, who became inspector. Yeah. That's what NNP did. You forget what? Something has to be wrong with you if you forget that. Yeah. That is exactly. Look at the people who they gave contracts and so on to build this and build that and build that. They're people. But they want NDC to be the nice guy here, boy. They want NDC to do it different, boy. Yeah. That's what they want. They want NDC to be Mr. Fair and Mr. Good. Look at what they do to Tillman Thomas. You say, well, all you, I'm not going to interfere, right? I'm not going to interfere. We're going to leave you to do your work, and once you're doing your work and do. You say, I'm a soldier for Christ. The minute time he said that, they drag him in the street and they crucify him. Yeah. Soldier for Christ. They drag him and they crucify him. That's what they did. A nice guy, though. Decent guy. Nice. Look at him. You're not even aging. You're looking handsome. Nice. You're looking young. Because he had peace. But they crucify him. They say, you're joking. I was saying to a friend, the Grenadian people still love a tough leader, a strong man as prime minister who will control everything. That's the reality. They still love that. When that strong man say, this is what we're doing, you could say what you want. When he called up PS in the office and he blammed the door and he said, hey, straighten up your damn self. You hear me? She could only go in the corner and cry. Or he could only go and cry. We're going so, and that's what we're doing. Yeah? When he called the commissioner of police and he said, this is what we're doing. And that's the direction. You hear me? Grenadians still love that. They still love a strong man. Controlling the show. Running the show. It's what it is. That's the reality. It's ingrained in us. It's in our DNA. But here it is. There are some people who got a little work in a little ministry or some kind of program or something. You hear me? NDC, you know. NDC. They got a little promotion. Maybe they advising something or they managing something or they some ministry. You know, they start to play public servant already. Yeah. They start to act as though they are public servants. They forget how they got there. You got there because you are first and foremost a NDC. Yeah, Winston, I'm on my program still. Yes. All right. So I am saying they forget that what got them that work is the NDC, you know. Yes, it's the NDC that got them the work. The politics. That what got you the damn work. You just go inside it 22 months, and in some instances, maybe a year. For some of you all, you become a public servant. You know, you're acting as though you're a PS or some SAO or somebody that the public service appointed. If NNP come in power, right? Hello? Yes, I'm still on the program. Yes. Okay, yeah, I'm still on the program. If NNP come in power, they're kicking you out. They're making you go. So stop all your damn stupidness. You hear me? Stop it. You're not public servant. No. You got there because of NDC. And if Keith or the NNP come back in power, they go kick you out, in my belief. Out. You go. You hear me? So don't make them make you believe that you some public servant, you go appointed, or you, what's wrong with you? Appointed where, when, how? Something has to be wrong with you. You just think for a moment. You are no public servant. Yes, you're serving the public, but you got there because of NDC. So try your best to make NDC remain in power by the work you do. You know, a friend said to me, he said, "Bye, you know some NDC people. What does pressure NDC people?" I said, "What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?" He said, a lot of them NDC people who get like a position and get things, they playing as though they arrive and they you know, and the people who support and so on, they might apply for certain things. Hey, oh boy, is what then putting them through. You understand? Yeah. They planting, they treating that one so, and they treat. Say, what the hell is that? What's wrong with all you? Is the NDC that got you there? The liquor walk you there now. NDC what put you there. If it was not for the party, you had no nothing. You hear me? But I understand what the guy was saying. He said, it's our people, and our people are pushing our people. Our people are causing our people to get, vexed up and thing and angry. Our own people. You give them a little thing and they start to wear high heels and they start to dress up. They arrive, they plain thing. What's wrong with all you? Something has to be wrong with all you. You hear me? Hello? You understand what I'm saying? The ladder that gets you where you are, the ladder you climb to get to where you are, NDC ladder. If NDC and you are nothing. You're not public servant. You're confused. You're not a public servant. You hear me? So sometimes it's our own people are pressuring our own people. You see, I'm different. I'm different. I look for my people. So what it is? Because I understand the politics. Politics dictates that you look for your people. First and foremost, you make sure that they're okay. You make sure that they're happy. Because once they're happy, you're good. You're okay. You hear me? It is simple like that. Let them NNP talk. So what? So you're a customer talking? Put an AirPod in your ears. Put some in your ears. And play loud music. Play it over here. But just do things for your people. So what? Huh? You think them NNP and them changing? Because you give them this, which part? A Dracula always like blood. You hear me? You might take that Dracula and put it in a place where you don't have blood. But the minute time blood close by, that Dracula bad again is same Dracula. Yeah, same Dracula. Put to watch the blood bank. Secure the blood bank. When you come back, they're gone. You hear me? That's the NNP and them. It's simple. All now they play nice. Coming around, they play nice. Let election call. Let election call. and you would see them creebo on them crawling out with a green jersey and a green band and the this and the that and the bad like something that wet and think they're easy? I know them. I know them very well. But I'm saying all of this to say we have to understand what is at stake. What is at stake is survival politically. And if you want to be there for a long time, you have to use certain survival strategies and techniques. You hear me? I gave an analogy, and some people say, Kem Jones, what they call it, restorative justice and da. Where they get all you get a new word. To hell with all you with that. You got to look after your people because government going to fix the main road. Yes, that's the role, that's the duty of the government. We're fixing the main road. But the politics is when you go in an area and it has 10 houses there, and you check the votes, 35 votes there, and they have a dot road, and you build a concrete road there for them. The 10 houses now have a concrete road. They could get a little vehicle, they could walk, they could drive, they could. That is the politics. You hear me? That's the politics there. Yes, the government, they go fix the main road, they go fix, yeah. And we know it's the government that doing the concrete road, you know. But the politics, that's the difference, right? The politics. Hello? Hello, good morning. Hi. Good, you know, I'm on my program still. All right? Yeah. So, yeah. So, you see, I was saying to you, on a daily basis, sometimes I would get 50 to 60 people calling me. More than the politician, more than the MP in this one and that one here. Within a short space of time, the program ain't finished yet. Right? So they're thinking that the program is done, right? Because it's 8 to 9. We're going a little beyond that. So so they call it up. That's me. What I tell you is what I tell you. That's a fact. So I am saying all of this to say the politics requires you looking after your people, right? And it's our people many a times that would be hard on our own people. You hear me? I remember I went to a particular place, statutory entity. And a good friend who got, promoted and so on within their solid NDC, plenty people in the line and so on. And so that individual went on the phone, called me, hey, Kem, what's it by? I see you down there. Let me help you now. You understand? Let me help you. Why you come here? Yeah. Let me help you out. Because they recognize it's Kem Jones there. And they know what I am out here doing, fighting for them to make sure that they survive too. So here it is. I got the assistance. They helped me. But I understood within that moment how important it is to not forget the politics. So you get a little position, you walk in there now, you do, but that person did something that is very significant, very important. What they did was to say, Kem Jones, I know what you're doing for this country. I know what you're doing for the NDC. I know what you're doing for us. And you have 80 people there, call you, tell me how can I help you. Expeditiously, you get yourself on your gun. Never you forget that. You hear me? Don't forget that. These little things go a long way. These little things go a very long way. So don't forget where you came from, right? The struggles. Yeah, you have a work now, you director on some board now. You know, you're an important person now. You Mr. This and Mr. That now, and you whatever now. You get a liquor blind, right? Well, the reason why you get a liquor blind is because NDC there. If NNP in power, you ain't getting a You don't believe that? If NNP was in power, you didn't get in that. Wake up now. You didn't get in that. Where you getting? When NNP was in power, look at the people who they put on the boards. All the boards is NNP people. Every single board. Statutory. Nawasa, Grenlek, Grenlek, Gravel and Concrete, GIDC, MNIB, Housing Authority, again, NADMA thing, again, everywhere. All the boards. Solid waste. Their people Ports Authority, Airports Authority, all of them. They put in their people there. Simple. That's what they're doing. That's what they did. It is what it is, and they remain in power for 23 years and a half. You hear me? Yes. That's what they did. All them places, the thing you see them, they're people. And the same self-righteous people today who want to condemn NDC, they didn't say a word. They didn't say a word. If crooked was a person, them self-righteous people, that's exactly what you would call them. I'm telling you, they didn't say a word. They just accept it. They condone it. They have no problem. Zero problem. Because the NNP could do anything in this place and get away with it. But the NDC, and they shouldn't do it so, and they shouldn't do it so, and they, because they believe the NDC should be the white cloth, right, on the table where you have the sacrament, right, where you have the body of Christ, where you have the wine and the bread, they believe NDC should be that. But the NNP could be any old thing. The NNP could do anything in the place and get away with it. Yeah? Look, you have a guy who talking for the NNP. He was a police. A thief. And when I say the NNP, I'm talking about the new nasty party, yeah? Not the new national party. The new nasty party. That's the acronym. It stands for the new national, the new nasty party, not the new national party. So he talking for the NNP. He was a old police, a police guy, young guy. He went on a boat, a cruise, and he thief Campari. Couple bottles of Campari, thief it. There's some licensing in the south. He makes some bubble day, thief. The man is the voice for the new nasty party now, He talking on behalf of them. Different standard. Then you have one who talking for the NNP, the new nasty party. The man is a old thief. The man thief government money. You hear me? Hundreds of thousands of dollars. The man thief is a old thief. You understand? A thief. But the man is the authority for them. It's speaking for the new nasty party. Yeah, the NNP. But these people, they love him, they like him, they celebrate it. A old thief, A old thief. And I could go on and on. Different standard. Totally different standard. Different standard. But let somebody who's speaking for X, Y, and Z, let them bong something. You hear it all about. And our own people go cry them down. They cry them down? Yeah. But look at it. The guy's the hero, The old thief. He's the hero. He talking, he have program, he had this, He's the hero. Different standard. Different standard. They see things differently. They do things differently. And mind you, no repercussion. No repercussion. It's all cool. It's all okay. Yeah. And they call him a old chief. Look at who speaking on behalf of the new nasty party, NNP. That's what the acronym stands for. Not the new national party, the new nasty party. Yeah, I'll give you two examples. Two old thieves. They thiefing, they bubble. The boy was a little police, you know? The boy one thief. He thief Campari on the boat. You hear me? He was in the South St. George police station. He make a thief day again. By the time they catch up with him, a whole bubble. People come in and pay for the licensing. He thiefing the money. So they make him go. Look at where he end up. Speaking on behalf of them, the new nasty party. And then you have the next old thief. The man costs taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars over a 3-year period. The guy's a thief. You hear me? But different standard. But I'm saying all of this to say we need to focus on our people. Let them talk. We will focus on bringing our people up to that level. Because you cannot tell me, for example, you're in a department, you're equally qualified, but because you're an NDC, they are not promoting you. So they promote the next NNP person twice or 3 times within their time. And you remain at one position. Equally qualified, you know, or maybe even more qualified than the person they promoted. You hear me? But when NDC comes into power, you want NDC to roll out this new policy where, you know, we're promoting people on merit. If you do this, we go promote you. We go. So you're ushering a new kind of thing. So that person who is now assistant superintendent of police, ASP, because they promote that person 3 times, right? Or a super, promote them to a super. That person now comes on the same level with the person who was victimized 3 times or 4 times. Everybody standing in the same line. What should happen? You should now promote that person who was kept at that rank for so long. You promote them twice or 3 times too. Bring them up. And then you usher in that new policy. You hear me? Promote your people. Bring your people up to the level. Let them talk. So what? It is what it is. Simple. You hear me? I am saying all of this to say, in small island politics, you have to look for your own many a times. You hear me? Because you cannot just roll out something new. You're going to still disadvantage your people because they were already disadvantaged for so long. It's what it is. Bring them up to the standard. Bring them up to the level. Take them up. Let them talk. I am so accustomed with NNP talking, it really move me anymore. That is how you need to view the thing. Let them talk. You hear me? Every morning, when I listen to the Plead Due Cause program, same people talking. Same people running them out. This morning, Anne-Marie Aban, she called. She said, I'll be doing a series of poems as though the damn program is hers, you know. Yeah. As though she running, the thing belonged to her. It comes across that way for this week. And, you know, just amazing. Same cadre of people calling these programs. The To The Point program with JT, same thing. You hear me? GT. I think he's a Telesford or something. You hear me? Same thing. Same cadre of people calling. On them NNP platforms, the New National Party platforms, the little podcaster programs they have, same set of people calling. Every morning. Nothing new. You hear me? But I am saying all of this to say to you, so if they talk, so what? Look at Rootsman Kelly. He's singing some calypso again. It's normal. He sing some calypso about the NDC and about Deacon. And when you listen to the calypso, it's a calypso that should be in the junior competition, even the senior competition. Yeah. The junior. Yeah, it's like nursery rhymes. It's a big laugh. And so what? Let him sing. What's wrong with that calypso? It's carnival time. Sing. After carnival, you don't hear his song play. Well, the NNP might grab it and play, but who cares? They've been playing things for years. That's not new. When NNP was in power, I took certain calypsos and I played it to my own, to achieve my own objective. So what? Right? To get certain message out there. So what? So Rootsman Kelly singing this thing and then singing the, when you listen to the that should be in a junior competition or a senior thing. The big people calypso competition, that's not even worthy of that. Go in the junior and compete in the junior. But let them talk, let them sing. So what? So what? Yeah. In other words, I have become so mature in this business that these things don't move me anymore. I understand what it takes to win. I know what it takes to win an election. Even if it takes 2 terms, 3 terms, I know how to win. I know what is required to win. You hear me? It is what it is. I know what it takes to win. And don't believe I'm not aware that there are some MPs in some constituencies. I mean, the people blue. There's some of them, they blue. You hear me? They vex. Yeah. Then seeing 1 or 2 of them, I know. You think I know? I'm more on the ground than a lot of people. All fete a day, all funeral a day, all community thing a day. This week I have about 3 funerals to go to. And when I go and listen to some things, I'm meeting people. People call me every day. 50 people, 55. I get to know all what's going on. You think I know? I know all what's happening. Do you hear me? I know what's happening. I'm mixing and mingling with people. While some of those politicians, they go in and slip. They go in home and think, I out there on the block, I playing domino, I playing this, I listening to that, all about the place. You think I know what's going on in this place? I know all what's going on in this place. I am fully aware. So when I speak reality. I speak reality. It's what it is. And it requires that level of intelligence. Not just book sense and you're big, you're bright, you have a first degree and a second degree and you're a master's degree or a bachelor's degree, you're big and you're bright and that qualifies you to be a politician and qualify what? Check the people who won their seats over and over and over again. Ask them what they have. They have the people's touch. They're connected to the people. They're on the ground, mixing, mingling, interacting with the people, getting to know what the people want and making sure that they get it for them. All right? So I am simply saying that there is a need for us to understand that in the politics. In the politics, there's a need for us to understand that. It is key. We got to reach out, connect with our people, get to know what's going down, get to know what is happening on the ground, everywhere, throughout your constituency. Go down there, touch base, right? Lastly, I want to thank Alan Alexander, I always call her Rosalind Alexander. That's husband. I want to thank Rosalind and Alan for their thoughtfulness, right? And I'm celebrating 10 years in radio, 10 years in radio. And I was pleasantly surprised when Alan came by with his four friends from the United States of America, right? And they printed two T-shirts. I have it somewhere there, right? Two T-shirts speaking to the program. 10 years of service, my 10 years or 10 years anniversary. So I want to thank Alan and Alan Alexander and Rosalind Alexander. All right. Well, Rosalind is Dominican Grenadian. Very, very nice lady. Pleasant lady. Right? Pleasant, lovely lady. I want to thank them. Just the thoughtfulness, just thinking. You're coming back home. And I mean, they came by to see me. And he brought the two T-shirts for me, printed nice stuff, of the program over the years. Well, it's, very nice. Very, very thoughtfulness. I want to thank him sincerely. I want to say to you again, I'm celebrating 10 years in radio, 10 years on this block serving you. All right. It's a big thing. 10 years is a decade. 10 years is a big deal for me. And we're going down to the Trade Center on the 31st of May. That's month end. Friday, the last day of this month at the Trade Center to celebrate local foods, drinks, on sale. But 50 EC. Ticket is 50 EC. Right? $50. 50 EC. Not US. 50 EC. For the ticket. So I want to encourage you, buy up some tickets. Right? Buy up a couple tickets. As a form of appreciation. So while you might be able to come, while you may not be able to come, but as a form of appreciation, buy up a couple tickets and come. If you can't come, just buy a couple tickets. All right? I want to encourage you to do so. It's 50 EC for it. Good? So you can buy up, holler at me, my number. My number is easy to remember. 415-4817. If you're overseas, of course, you have to put 1473. 415-4817. 415-4817. All right? So you could holler at me. Call me up. Buy up some tickets. On the 15th of May will be the 10th anniversary. Right? That's the actual day. 15th of May. Today's the 6th. The 15th will be what day? Let me see. All right. The 15th will be a Monday. Let me look and see. The 15th will be a Wednesday. All right. So next Wednesday will mark 10 years since I have been doing this on radio, on podcast, online and so on. It will mark 10 years since I have been on this journey with you. So I want to encourage you, even if you're not able to come, you can't make it, buy a couple tickets up as a form of appreciation. All right? Buy a couple tickets as a form of appreciation. So look forward to you buying a couple tickets. All right? So I want to wish you all the best. This morning we go for our extra or so. Well, almost an hour extra this morning. But sometimes it's like that. We got to keep on doing what we must do in this democracy, because Grenada is depending on us. All right? There's a paradigm shift taking place, which is great. People want to hear positive things, the good stuff, the good news. And let's keep it that way. Peace and love. Take good care. Let's continue to defend our party. Let's continue to support our party, promote our party. I want to lastly congratulate all the elected members of the women's arm of the party. They held an election, was it on Saturday or Friday? Saturday, I think, at the GBSS. And it was well attended as usual. And I want to congratulate my good friend Hillary Alexander and all the elected members of the women's arm of the NDC. All right, at least the NDC women's arm doing better than the NNP altogether, because the NNP can't even call a general council, much less a convention. So, folks, take good care. Bye for now. Take good care. Bye for now. All right.